Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of PD and P-Dubs Unscripted. P-Dubs, good to be with you on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon.
It is a glorious day out. I just got back visiting someone, and now we're in the studio, and it's a great day because we got guests.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see we got a full house here. We're joined by Doug and Terry and Kevin.
I think we probably have room around the table for maybe one more person, so I don't know. This is a record, though. I don't think we've ever had... three guests at one time.
I think I've had some of the youth, some of the students.
Oh, right, yeah.
But guests overall, because since we only have 4 mics, we take half of those mics.
That's right.
So usually it's only 2 guests. But yeah, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit for our audience. I don't know who wants to start.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
I'm Kevin Kindleland, member since 2008. Been coming here since 2005. A lot of things around here. Just in the 50's plus, they were talking about promoting our little ministry and coming and talking about it, and I got that little hook in my mouth. Okay, I'll do.
Glad you came.
Yeah, glad to be here with you as you got back down your Kansas City Chiefs attire.
Yep, 3 out of 5 years. That is an official dynasty in today's terms, folks.
I think you're right. I know.
Thank you. Other pastor would not agree with me.
No, they're just just softening, everybody gets a trophy mentality for a dynasty these days.
Yeah. Dr. Patrick Mahomes about that participation trophy he just earned.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. I was a boy, but that's when I was first introduced to Kansas City. But when the Bears play the Chiefs, I do root for the Bears, folks. I'm a Bears fan first. I evolved into a Bears fan when we moved back to Chicago from Kansas City. And then when Walter Payton came to town in 1975, that sealed the deal.
Nice.
So is that your favorite Beatles song? Oh, Kansas City. Gonna get my baby back home.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
When I first heard the Beatles version of Kansas City, I was a wee lad. That was an early recording, like 64, 65.
Okay.
One of those records. And Paul McCartney was already my favorite Beatle because he's a lefty and I'm a lefty. But when I heard that voice, not knowing who the singer was, I thought it was terrible. I thought that because they weren't singing those sweet,
yeah.
songs. Was Kansas City, City, here I come.
Yeah.
I got this song.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
I knew I'd get you on that.
Everybody's singing. What are we going to sing?
I don't know.
Well, we're in the choir over there.
We have
2 members of our choir here.
Exactly.
Doug and Terry.
That's right. So
I'm an amateur.
New members of the choir.
new members of the choir. Yeah.
Relatively new members of the church.
Yeah, relatively new members of the
Relatively.
church. We actually joined during COVID. We started coming to 50's Plus before we joined the church. And I'm Doug, by the way. And let's see, what else? I guess that's about it. Tell them who you are.
I'm Terry. After
Good.
50 years, that's all you have to say. But that's okay. But no, we enjoy it here. What we thought we would start by just being quietly in this corner someplace because we've been very active for decades in other congregations. Didn't last. And first it was 50's Plus, and then it was the choir, and it just seems to be...
Who knows where to go from
one
here.
thing just expands to another, but I guess that's the Lord's will, and we're just following it. And thankful for the opportunity to reach out to others.
How do you guys get so involved with 50's Plus as actually assuming leadership roles?
Because we got talked into it.
That's the way it
Somebody
happens
said-
around here at Immanuel.
Somebody said they wanted to retire because they had been doing the selection of speakers that 50's Plus will have. And they had been doing it for years. So they asked if they could retire, but they needed someone to do it. And we did. We procrastinated for quite a while because we had an idea of what it would. Well, you
All
said.
her.
Well, that's. Well, that's. Oh,
You'll
you're
notice
right.
I sit with my hands folded. She's half Italian, so she talks with her hands.
Yeah. But that was.
I'll do it.
Yeah. I was trying to sit on them, but it didn't last too long.
Yeah.
But it has been wonderful, and working with the people and 50s Plus is such an experience. I mean, it's such a bridge to so many things in our lives because of the experience that those individuals have, had during their lifetimes. Just listening to them talk sometimes is an inspiration. And what I like to see 50s do is remind them how vital they still are and how much they still have to offer and serve, regardless of their age, regardless of their abilities. There's always something that we all can do. And so and one thing led to another, as far as even that ministry, I think, and some of the things we're trying to reach out and do with it.
It's funny that you say that because older people have so much to contribute, so much that we can learn from them, and they have a right to impart that upon us. There was one of the times I was sitting there, and I sat next to Clarence, 102-year-old Clarence, and he told me someone had told me how old he was. I said, "How old are you, Clarence? 101?" And he looked at me with a twinkle in his eye and said, 102. And he proceeded,
You stand corrected.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And he proceeded to tell me the story of how he crash landed the plane after being shot, tried to shoot him down, but making it over to, I think it was Iceland. But he just started telling the story. And I just thought it was great that he was doing it. I go, wow, I'm just being the beneficiary of this wisdom and this knowledge and this story. And I love history. And then he has a right to tell it too. And that he's 102 years old. And
Yeah,
telling it.
I know it.
His mind is just as sharp as a tack.
Yes.
The stories, if you get him started, plan on spending the whole day because he can talk, and one story will lead into another story. He's one of these. He'll be telling a story. Oh, that reminds me of this. It's
Right.
It's amazing.
Well, you guys are kind of getting into it a little. I just really appreciate the enthusiasm that Doug, you and Terry bring to the group. And it seems like, the group has welcomed it with open arms. And, you're trying to hey, folks, come on, let's get active. And sometimes that's met with, I don't know. And sometimes it's we can do this. And
Slowly but surely.
So you guys have been kind of talking about the group, but for those of us who are listening who might not know what 50s Plus is, maybe you could give us an idea of who the group is, how often they meet, when did things begin with this group, that kind of thing.
I can do that. 50s Plus has been in existence for nearly 30 years. We are a ministry here at Immanuel for, just as the name says, anyone over 50 years of age or older. And we meet on Fridays during the school year, basically, so September through May, although we will be trying something new this coming summer. We're going to meet once a month.
Wait, Lutherans can change?
I know.
We're still in the process of...
Men and women aren't sitting together yet, though.
yeah.
But that is not.
We're still in the process of deciding,
Working that out.
working how that's going to work. But we meet at 10 o'clock on Fridays. From 10 to 11 is a devotional time, usually led by one of our two pastors or a member of the church or school staff. When no one's available, which does happen occasionally, they do have other things to do other than come and talk to us. We have a video series that we've been following now for probably the last couple of years. It's a very interesting series. So we always have something to do between 10 and 11. And then at 11, we have I'll call it an entertainment hour, although it's entertainment, education, a little bit of everything. We have attorneys. We have
That's
financial
entertaining.
planners.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, some of them actually
I
are.
bet, yeah.
We've had Citizens Utility Board, a park ranger, who's
It's one of my favorites.
one of our members
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
The bluegrass band.
Yes.
a bluegrass band, which is
Highway.
a Palatine, Immanuel alumni.
Tim Hessner became
Tim
Yeah.
Hetzner's been here. Rich Bimler's been here.
We did chair yoga.
Yep, we did chair yoga
And we
one
got
week,
people
and
to
we
do- and
we
she-
thought for sure that the guys would just sit there,
Sherry.
but nope, they were
Yeah.
getting right into it with everybody else.
Good.
Oh,
That's
chair
great.
yoga. I thought you said share yoga.
No, chair. My
Chair.
teeth are.
Yeah, they brought Cher in.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
If I could roll back time.
Isn't it turn back time?
Turn back. All right. So
we sing enough of that.
That should sound like she's singing through a fan. If I could turn back time.
Pastor, you alluded to getting more involved, getting the group more involved. Some of the things that we've always had some sort of a focus, if you will, or what's the word I'm looking for? It's right there on my tongue.
Oh, yeah.
A purpose
Yeah.
and
Mission.
a mission, project,
Agenda.
Yeah.
agenda. And over the past year, we've kind of shifted from having our own focus, our own agenda, to helping other focuses and agendas within the church to achieve their goals. So what's that mean? We helped with the Advent calendars this past November. We've been making cards for the homebound. We've been making calls and or visits.
That's
to the
wonderful.
homebound
Yeah,
to
right.
help you guys out. It's slow, but
Hey.
Every little bit helps.
yeah, we're noticing
Yeah,
some
we
folks
noticed that
are.
today when we were looking through our care visitation list of some, like Kevin, you've been making some calls and some other people have been reaching out. So that's good.
I know how I feel when I'm homebound. And when you're feeling lonely and someone reaches out, just that little bit, that little thing that just says someone's thinking about you. It really does lift your spirits. I'm a recipient of that, of the love that you get in an organization, a church such as this. So, yeah, why not? Why not do that? Why not help people? But I didn't like making elder calls. So those were people who thought I was soliciting donations because, no, my wife handles that. What a click. I did it. That's an actual call. I called a guy, I don't even remember his name, so I don't have to worry about revealing who it was. But when I said, hey, this is Kevin Kittle, I'm an elder from Immanuel, and he says, oh, no, my wife handles that.
I think the hardest thing sometimes is coming to the realization that when you look at the age of the people that are in the group, we've got a bit of a span.
Yes.
But any one of us at some point is possibly going to be homebound.
Right.
And you have people that have been members of 50's plus since its inception. So they've been there 20, 30 years. They've established friendships and, friendships
great to
and
hear
stuff
from
with
them.
people. But then all of a sudden they go from being here at your table every week, and then all of a sudden they're not there. Well, it's just they're not there, but they're still there. And to waste that, to let them, kind of go into oblivion without realizing that connection continues on, through like the calls or something, or how can we help? How can we be there for you? One of the gals, she makes homemade cards. And what he's
right.
alluding to is trying to do something beyond just a store card that you sign. Do something that really shows. And as we're doing them, it's like you're praying for the person. You're thinking about the person. So it's kind of like a double duty type of a thing. But then hopefully when they receive it, they'll know that even though they can't be with us, they're still with us in spirit.
Yeah, that you guys cared enough to make it, design it,
Yeah.
pray over it. Yeah.
And I would say
Exactly.
it's kind of one of those too. You can kind of know when people are missing because we're good Lutherans and everybody kind of sits in the same spot.
Yeah.
So you be like, oh wait, that seat's empty. That's usually filled by so and so.
Well, and you see some
There's
people.
more truth to that.
Yeah,
Than
but
you
there's-
realize. We all have our
Yeah.
spots, and nobody else better sit in somebody's spot.
But there's a comfort in that too.
Yeah.
And as you alluded to the fact, the guys are at this table, the ladies at that table.
I think
There's
that's hilarious. I never saw that before.
But see that, okay, it was I
You've
think
been a
it's
Lutheran your whole life?
No,
Well, see, I wasn't either, so
Yeah.
it was
I
a
was a
little weird to
Catholic.
me too.
Yeah. So, yeah, we thought, we do everything together. So, how come we're doing this? And then the realizations that you have a lot of people in a lot of different situations. A number of people at 50s plus are now one of a couple. And you want them to be comfortable. You want them to come. You want them to be within a fellowship. And many times, too, let's face it, the guys are going to talk about different things than ladies, and we want
And
to
vice
have our-
versa.
right.
Yeah.
And being retired, how many of the couples are stuck in the same house all day
Yeah,
long?
right,
So
that's-
they're just thrilled to get into a conversation with just ladies. But now we're starting to have situations where some of the couples are, one partner is having some issues that requires the other partner to be with them. Now they're back together as a couple. So it doesn't matter. If people want to sit as a couple, fine. If they'd rather not. But we want to make sure we're welcoming to whatever situation you have in life so that you find comfort and support and joy, in the celebration of the events that people at our stage of life will be seeing a grandchild graduate or get married or, whatever.
It's also, I enjoy going around and speaking with the women in particular.
Yeah,
seeing
we're
their
fun,
point of
aren't we?
view. You are a lot smarter than men. Sorry, guys, but they are. I'm not going to say his name to embarrass him, but there's one gentleman in particular who paid particular attention to his wife and caring for her.
Yes.
And I think that it's just amazingly wonderful that he's not going to get like these barriers of men on this side, women on this side. He's taking care of his wife, making sure she's enjoying her time here, that she can come and interact with her peers.
The fact that she can come is such a
Right.
blessing because they were regular, attendees for years and then had some health issues. And everybody was so thrilled and thankful that she was able to come back. And if this is how she can attend, and that's the same for others. In fact, I'll segue. We're trying to do an event in April, and it's called Calling All.
Before you
Before?
do that,
Oh.
I haven't mentioned the most important
Oh,
thing.
I was
did.
going to ask.
I'm sorry. I'm Lutheran, so yeah, I'm sorry.
We're good Lutherans here. We got to eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
So-
the best meal in town on a Friday. And it's the cheapest.
It's the cheapest meal. Somewhere around noon, we get together for lunch. That Bob and Ruth have been cooking lunch for
Almost 30.
30 years, practically, except for maybe way at the beginning. I don't know. Sometimes the stories change a little bit there, or aren't quite as clear. But we, unfortunately, at the beginning of last season, we upset a few people because we had to raise our price to $2.
Oh man,
That is
That
That was a
Wow.
100% increase.
that's a huge increase.
It was 100% increase. It used to be $1. There are a couple of times during the year, or at least one.
For sure.
One's coming up this Friday, in fact, that we have to charge a little bit more just because
It's a special time.
it's
Yeah.
a special meal.
special
and
meal.
It costs a little bit more to make. And
All I have to say for this week with your corned beef and cabbage is make sure Pastor Warren gets a lot of cabbage because he loves green cabbage.
Hey now. Hey now.
Hey,
Green cabbage is
I'm sure the
excellent.
rest of the office is going to love
it's your
it.
day off.
Yeah.
But I actually do eat green cabbage. That's the thing.
Well, I
Yeah.
told Pastor Donald, I said, if you're not coming in, I'm going to make a delivery. I'm going to
yeah.
have a to-go and just like stop by his house unannounced.
Good thing you got a ring doorbell.
Oh, I know there's another doorway.
Both doors to the house have a ring.
All right. I'll have
So-
to make a disguise.
But I did this. Yesterday in my crock pot, I did make corned beef and cabbage and carrots for myself.
you go.
So I do eat it, but I just know you love some cabbage.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I'll eat the corned beef, but the cabbage, I don't know.
I grew up, my family prides itself in its Celtic DNA. I always hated the smell of cabbage.
Yes, sir.
People say, now, okay, folks, historically, corned beef and cabbage is not an Irish dish. Sorry, it came
What? Why you just ruined my whole
part of the 19th century. Well, who were the Irish? They were
Notre Dame?
They were the workers of just above no Irish need apply. Just when they were finally able to get jobs. Irish were not too well bet in this country in their early part when they came over. So they were workers, and the St. Patrick's Day Parade was actually a protest parade that was established, became the St. Patrick's Day Parade. But they had to get whatever kind of scraps they could, and so they took the bad part of the beef and they used from I think it was Jewish recipe corned beef. That type of stuff came from that culture, and it was just something that was cheaper, and the cabbage was, I guess, cheap to make. But nowhere in Ireland are you going to get corned beef and cabbage.
What if
you
you
get bangers and potatoes?
Bangers and mash. Right?
Yeah.
But what if you cook the corned beef and cabbage in Guinness? Doesn't that make it Irish?
That's what Pastor
Yeah, I
did.
just tried that yesterday for the first time.
I'll have to give you that one. Guinness
He seemed happier yesterday.
Yeah, because but it did. Well, I think it did take away kind of the cabbagey smell because the house did have a different smell.
Okay.
It had you could smell the Guinness a little bit. That it was soaking
I'd
in.
rather smell Guinness than the cabbage.
So a great meal. I'll admit, I've never usually been there because that's my day off. So haven't been around too much when there has been the meal. But I know when I'm there doing the devotion, it smells great.
But
Not
we
to
do it.
discourage you other
just
corned
so
beef
you
and
know,
cabbage eaters.
we do appreciate when you come
Yes.
in on your day off to
Yes.
do devotion for
Yeah,
us.
it's always a joy. I come for the dad jokes. I like the jokes. I miss the sports update though.
Yeah. There's always these fun little nuances, in 50s plus that Pastor kind of brings up. Like, when the one gentleman used to host, he would always have the jokes. And
Yep.
like they were the corniest jokes, but they were funny and hilarious. And some of them, I'm always a slow uptake, and then I'd be like a late laugher. And I'm like, oh, I like that, but I always look forward to the jokes. And then we had a participant who always provided us with a sports update, and DePaul Blue Demons,
Some baseball team.
so the Cubbies,
Some baseball team.
yes. So, so there's a lot
Outnumbered
of
at this table.
What?
You're outnumbered.
I'm outnumbered most places when it comes to my baseball allegiance.
but there's just a lot of camaraderie that and that comes along with that group.
Because isn't there even after the lunch sometimes some card playing? Or
Yes.
They're
Not
used-
so much now,
No,
but there used to be a group of the guys that would hang around until who knows what time.
Was it
Yeah.
pinochle?
Yes.
Was it?
My understanding was because we had a game day
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
I
where people
remember that.
And that was a hoot. And people really enjoyed it. And they said it has to be in the regular cycle to do it again. And they mentioned some of the after lunch activities have been our projects.
Okay.
Like our card making, working on the advent calendars. We gathered textiles for recycling.
We're going to help put the
Oh,
candy in the Easter
Oh, the
eggs.
Easter egg hunt
yes,
coming up.
Oh,
yes,
good.
Which is also cool. We're having people
Hopefully
now
we'll get
ask
people
us.
that'll stick around to do that because we were just asked, so we haven't had time to. We usually
Promote
do
it.
sign-up sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get people to sign up. We haven't had time to do that.
But
So
I'm-
hopefully we'll have some time. I just want to say one more thing before Terry talks about an upcoming event that I've heard over the last couple of years. We've been in 50s plus now, for about 4 years. 18 months of that was COVID. So we didn't meet. But, people will ask other people, why don't you come to 50s plus? You're certainly, of an age to do so. And, why don't you come and join us? And, the main thing that I always hear is, well, they don't do anything. Well, that's just not true.
No. Yeah.
Do we climb mountains? No. Do we go out and run marathons? No. But we do something that to me is even more important. It's the most important type of exercise that one can get. And that's that we have fellowship with one another. We care about one another. We talk to one another. When somebody's not there, we know they're not there. And we try to find out why. sometimes we can find out, sometimes we can't. But it's just the fellowship of being with people like ourselves, and we're all going to be there, even you. We'll get there eventually.
See, he's not even 50 and he
Yeah.
gets invited.
All
See,
my
that's
kids
that
are all-
pastoral
Yeah.
privilege.
Yeah, I get the invite, every once in a while to sneak in,
Yeah.
go in costume,
I just barely
Think I
made it
do.
into the 50s. So
just like a day ago. Right?
yeah, something.
But
Yeah,
see, you
me
get
too.
hooked on it. We visited 50s before we were 50 with a music group.
Oh, right.
That entertained because
That's right.
Yeah, the
So you got a little introduction to it.
and we wanted to take off
we
every
want-
Friday
we did.
so that we could come because they were having so
So
much
much fun, yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, it took 15 years to get there, but we made it.
You made it. Awesome.
right.
That's great.
Yeah, we're finally there, and then some.
Yeah,
I
okay,
would
well,
agree-
and we're not doing that. We're not discussing the then some.
I would agree with you, Doug, the fellowship, because my mom used to attend every week before she went to heaven. And like she would sit around the table of my godmother was there, and then they're both like best friends with another lady, Leona. And then you could just go around. And my mom so looked forward to 50s plus, and even when she couldn't walk anymore, I would bring her in, and that was a big part of her week. And so you're absolutely right. It feeds the soul.
Right, I think that's
does.
for
Yeah.
a lot, because I know like Jenny's talked about that with her mom and the church group that she has at Grace River Forest.
Yeah.
Where that's an important part of that fellowship.
Right. Yeah, because, there was a time where, my mom, she'd be just staying at home, and there's no interaction. This was after she stopped working, and it provides that community, of people who have shared experiences and things of that nature. So it really, is an encouragement.
See, that's a great segue.
It is.
Because
All right.
we are calling all seniors.
Calling all
We're
seniors.
inviting all seniors to experience 50s plus. And what we're trying to do, it's on Friday, April 19th, starting at 10 with a devotion. It'll be an uplifting devotion followed by a program by Those Were the Days Radio Players West.
Yeah.
Which somebody told me about that had been here years ago,
Yes.
and they loved them.
They're very entertaining.
Excellent. And we thought that would be a fun, extra, special type of entertainment that we could bring together for people to enjoy. Those Were the Day Players is a group that was started in 1992 by a Chuck Shaden, named because they normally performed in the western suburbs. He was the original host of the Those Were the Days radio program. They bring back the golden age of radio, 1930 to 1950, bringing back memories for some, and for others introducing them for the first time to the high-quality writing and stories of this radio era. So like the Bickersons or, Marlowe, Spade. I think there's some.
Shadow.
The Shadow. There's several different things. So they have actually constructed something that will work within our time frame to accommodate the hour timeline.
And they don't just read a script. There's somebody in the background. If they say, somebody came through the door, you hear a door open and
Yeah.
close.
Right, the sound
So
effects.
it's not just, it's sight and sound
Yep.
type of thing, and it's really quite interesting.
Theater of the mind. Yeah.
Terry and I
Stole
had
that right
gone-
out of my mouth.
Sorry.
Terry and I had gone to a similar type program years ago where they read the Christmas Carol, but then they had all the sound effects in the back.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you had
That really adds
guys
to it.
shaking the chains.
Uh-huh.
And it did. It was at first I was like, yeah, it was going to be kind of boring, but it really wasn't. It was fascinating just to listen to.
That's
Yeah.
why I love my
And
job.
sometimes it's fascinating how they make the sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've never seen this group. So
Okay.
for us, it was also a joy that, we get to see them. And then afterwards, there'll be a fellowship meal for $2 a person. But we really want to reach out to the people in the congregation. We want to reach out to the community. If you don't have a senior activity in your own congregation, the door's open here that you can have fellowship with fellow seniors
Not just for this program.
for any program, but
They're
this
always
one.
welcome at 50's Plus.
Exactly. But we hope that this will be a means to open a door for some people that haven't been able to experience it, and they might come and give it a try. We do require registration, though, please, because of the food aspect of it. That way, Bob and Ruth can plan. And the registration will be required by April 15th.
Okay. So how do they register? How do they come in contact if they're interested in this April 19th event?
Yes, I'm trying to. Bob and Ruth gave me an email address.
Okay.
Do I say that on? Oh,
You can say that, and I can, at least on the video aspect, I could put that on the video, and
Oh.
I can probably put it on the description of this episode. And when I put it up on social media tomorrow, well, today if you're listening to it on Wednesday, I can put it in the description. If you want to register, email here.
that would be excellent.
So if you could just forward me that, or let me take a picture of that so that I can remember.
But you can also
In fact,
say
if
it
you
now while
Yeah.
we're listening.
Oh, okay. It's schmoldt@comcast.net.
Okay.
So
And-
schmoldt@comcast.net.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for others, we'll also be hopefully getting that in our messenger, as well as 50s Plus. We'll be sending out invitations to those in the congregation that are 50 and over, active and inactive, to try to reach out to them as well.
Okay. So for this event, the 19th, there's a registration. But let's say I'm interested in coming as soon as maybe next week. I mean, if I'm a listener and I want to connect with this group because it sounds super fun,
And they want corned beef and cabbage.
and they want corned beef and cabbage, yeah. So how do they come? Where do they arrive? Where do they park? What door do they come in? That kind of thing.
Okay, if they can email,
Okay.
at that address, that would be fine. But if it's something that just strikes you on Friday morning, don't hesitate to stop by.
Okay.
We'll greet you
Meet here at Immanuel.
at 200 North Plum Grove Road.
Right.
You come in
Main
the
entrance.
west entrance. There's a door midway
Yeah.
that says main entrance over the top, and there's a church sign right outside the door. You can enter in there. Somebody will,
You do have to ring a bell.
yes, and then somebody will assist you in and show you where the room is that we meet.
And you'll have to come in through the west parking lot. This morning, there was this yellow chain across the south parking lot that I had to plow through. That got in the way. I didn't know if you.
It's called the time.
How much for that,
time of
Shane?
day.
That's why it wasn't there this
Right.
afternoon.
But just come. I think they're going to put it back up, so you want to come in
Okay.
the west entrance to the parking lot.
Exactly.
The case meant to keep the geese out, right? 'Cause
I think so. Yeah.
saw
Keep
the
the geese out.
I
Yeah.
saw the geese flying in force swarmed this morning.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're making nests up on our gym roof. So
But that would be wonderful. And
Yeah.
the more people, the more ideas. And we are always looking for ideas, of things we can
Great.
do, people that are looking for help or assistance with their ministries,
And here's a question: do you have to be Lutheran to come to this thing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you do.
No.
Okay.
No,
I
otherwise,
was wrong. Darn it.
believe it or not, it's as far as we understand, it's not necessary.
Okay. All right.
It's
No,
open
we
to
have-
everyone.
We
That's
have
yeah.
several members that are not Lutheran.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the sheet that you gave me with the email. No, top says calling all seniors, those 50 and over. So it doesn't say Lutheran and 50 and
Yeah,
over.
just
It says
making sure.
Those 50 and over.
Yeah, just
Don't
making
show up
sure.
If you're 49.
Yeah.
Card.
Oh, you card them at the door, huh?
Yeah.
I'm only 49.
I don't know.
I better get my fake ID ready.
Yeah, right.
Pastors are allowed, though.
The only criteria is 50 or over.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't have to be Lutheran. You don't have to be members at Immanuel.
That's great to know. Yeah.
We just get together and have a good time.
And how long does it go? So you got the devotional time, and then the entertainment or the speaker time, and then a lunch time. When do you guys kind of wrap things up?
Depends on how fast you
1:30.
eat.
Okay.
Or if there's a project. Because if there's no project that week, then people are still milling around 1:30. It's been
So they can be, yeah.
yeah. But if we do a project, how long were we there the day that we did that one?
3 o'clock?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Ain't no party like a 50s plus party.
Yeah,
it's like a 50s plus day.
it's like a Holy Ghost party.
So it's whatever works. And I'm looking forward to even having some of them start up their pinochle again. Because
Okay.
that used to be all guys. And I have a couple of ladies that play pinochle. I'm like, well, we can mix it up.
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
It's okay with me.
It's too confusing
I'm
of
the
a
one who
game.
observed this
It is.
behavior. I'm the Roman Catholic boy who came. What are these guys doing? Oh, that's what this is too.
But that seems the pinochle seems to be the thing for that like 50s plus type crowd. Because I know
That
my
age.
grandma, she like at my home church, they called like that like a 50s plus group was the prime timers.
Oh, okay.
And that's what they would. My grandma and her friends would all play pinochle, and I'm like, that game is confusing. I've
Yeah.
never learned pinochle.
I used to sit at my parents would have friends over and they'd play pinochle and I'd sit at the table just trying to understand the game.
Yeah.
And then they all had their little cheat sheet cards like what is a meld, what is this? That's about all I remember. And
You remember more than I do.
yeah, so
I tried to
I still
do
don't know
that.
how to play the game.
My grandmother and grandfather belonged to a group way back in the last century called twosome.
Okay.
It was couples, so
All
they
right.
were twosome. Well, by the time I came around, there were a lot of onesomes in there.
Hmm.
They played canasta,
Oh, heard of that game, never
Yeah.
played it.
and I tried to learn that.
Uh-huh.
And if I remember correctly, and this is for our Michigan listeners out there, pinochle is similar to euchre, I believe.
Well, I don't know if it's similar.
I thought it was.
All I know about euchre is you got a bower.
Yeah, I just
There's
remember.
something called a bower.
I just remember in college, like all the Michigan people seem to love playing euchre,
Okay.
and so I always.
That's a big Wisconsin game, you
Is
know.
it?
Oh, yeah.
Must be our northern friends.
Oh,
that like
God.
Downstate in Illinois. Too.
That too. It's an Indiana game. When I went to not SIU to Fort Wayne, Indiana for seminary, a lot of folks we would have euchre tournaments. So, big thing.
Remember
Excellent.
Pinochle from an old, nursery rhyme my mother used to sing us. The Pinochle, the old one. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. The worms play Pinochle on your snout.
I've never heard of that.
He started with
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
You
The
are a
prime
treasure
time.
trove of.
you're making
Sorry,
P-Dubs.
you're not-
That's a mom is. Oh, my mother was great. You guys would have loved my mom.
P-Dubs, you're
You're not
making me
old
feel
enough.
better that I did because I was like, am I the
Doug
one who
knew it.
doesn't know this
Oh
one?
man, I don't know.
Doug and Terry knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Okay.
We just don't play it.
Well,
thought you
this
would
is
know.
really great. I'm so glad you guys are here, making greater awareness of your group that meets pretty much for 9 months out of the year, and so
It's 10 o'clock, come early if you want to get your seat, be a good Lutheran, sit up in the front.
Oh, and a cup of coffee.
cup of coffee to boot, and there's always good desserts, homemade desserts, right?
Yes, there are.
Oh man,
They do know how to cook. and
yes.
bake.
So come one, come all.
Invite your friends.
Invite your friends, call your neighbor, call your friends, and come on down. And if Doug, Terry, and Kevin are any sample of the group, you're going to have a good time. So we thank you guys for coming today and
Having us.
sharing a good time with us about 50s, and hopefully this will bring some
New faces.
new faces. Exactly.
So thank you guys. Thank everybody for listening, and God's blessings.